Let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a narrative that, well, it's drawn from excerpts of just one story, The Daughter Who Left, but it acts as this remarkably rich source. It's a quiet but really profound exploration of waiting, hoping, regretting, and then ultimately that intricate path back to reconnection. This isn't just a story, it feels more like a masterclass in the human heart, and we're here to sort of extract those profound nuggets.
Yeah, what's truly compelling about this, I think, is how it just distills these universal emotions into such a vivid, relatable experience. We'll be looking at the unspoken dialogue, the sheer weight that absence can carry, and the surprisingly powerful impact of even the simplest gestures in our lives.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is really to pull out those impactful takeaways, those moments of recognition that might surprise you, the subtle details carrying immense emotional weight, and those aha moments about resilience and connection that we think will genuinely resonate. Let's try and make this interesting by really getting under the skin of it. Okay, so the story opens with this house. It's described as having grown too quiet, but not peacefully quiet. It's a silence that apparently wraps itself around your chest. And this quiet, we learn, settled in months ago after the daughter promised she'd visit next weekend.
That immediately sets such a pregnant tone. It reveals a key insight right away. Unfulfilled expectations, especially in our closest relationships, they don't just disappoint, they leave a kind of vacuum. That silence isn't empty, is it? It fills with the ghost of what could have been, and it subtly alters the whole atmosphere of a home, of a life.
That's a really crucial point. And the story shows us the sheer depth of the mother's anticipation. It's heartbreaking, really. She prepares with such heartfelt detail, cleaning the house, not once but twice, fluffing cushions, washing the good tea set.
Oh yeah, the good tea sets.
Buying fresh flowers, and baking her daughter's favorite chocolate raspberry cake.
Yeah.
Apparently just the way she liked it when she was 12.
Wow, that detail. 12.
And she even dressed in her soft blue sweater, the one her daughter apparently said made her look like the sky.
Layers there. The effort, these deeply symbolic gestures, they just underscore this profound truth about love, don't they? It often expresses itself in this meticulous, hopeful preparation. Every action is like a silent prayer for connection. It's almost ritualistic, that longing.
And then, of course, comes the crushing disappointment. She watched the driveway as she waited, and the cake just sat untouched on the counter, slowly deflating into disappointment. By Sunday night, that bright hope had just faded.
That deflation. It's not just about the cake, is it? It's such a metaphor for the human spirit when it's repeatedly met with absence. What the narrative illustrates so powerfully is how silence can transform. It goes from just an absence of noise into this tangible, burdensome presence. And the mother's coping mechanisms, her leaving those cheerful voicemails, her internal justifications like, oh, she's just busy, or I shouldn't expect so much.
Right, trying to talk herself out of the hurt.
Exactly. It's a textbook example of how we rationalize pain, trying to protect ourselves from its full impact.
It's fascinating how she tries to shield herself, but then the story peels back another layer, doesn't it? She actually begins speaking to the silence, and internally she's grappling with regret, constantly wondering, had she done something wrong? Was it that argument from last Christmas? This descent into self-blame. It's incredibly powerful to read.
It truly is. And it's such a common, almost instinctual human tendency. When we're faced with an unexplained absence or this profound pain, our minds often try to seek control by internalizing blame. We try to find a reason for the hurt, even if that reason is self-inflicted. It's a tragic way we attempt to make sense of something that feels senseless.
And her routine, it just solidifies this waiting. Every weekend, she cleaned, she made tea for two, she never removed the red circle on the calendar. But there's this one detail that it really sticks with you. She left the porch light on at night, and the line is, not because she believed anymore, but because she didn't know how to turn it off.
Wow. That detail, you realize, it isn't just about a light bulb.
Precisely. No, it's much more than that. It's a profound insight into enduring hope, isn't it? It's not about logical expectation at that point. It's about a deeply ingrained habit of love. It's a testament to love's persistence even when hope feels completely lost. A quiet, defiant act of fidelity to the relationship, just maintained out of this raw, almost desperate love. And we'll see later just how significant that porch light becomes. And the narrative also describes the house itself as this silent witness. The house didn't speak, but it remembered. It held echoes of laughter, arguments, whispered apologies. It's like the walls absorbed the history.
It's a powerful concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
How our physical spaces aren't just inanimate objects. They become these living archives of our emotional histories.
Yeah.
Think about the daughter's room, left untouched. The dust settling like a guest overstaying its welcome. The trophies, that fading photo.
Yeah.
These aren't just things. They're poignant symbols of suspended time, constant reminders of a connection that's frozen in the past.
And the mother, she often stood just in the doorway, whispering to the silence, recalling little details like, "You always left your shoes right there." And the narrative points out she wouldn't actually step inside. She felt it was like trespassing on something sacred.
That act of not stepping in, that's deeply resonant. It shows this almost sacred reverence for the past, maybe even a quiet superstition, that preserving the room exactly as it was might somehow magically facilitate a return. She didn't move the sweater, the old sketchbook, or those glow-in-the-dark stars still clinging to the ceiling, because as the story tells us, somewhere in the quiet parts of her heart, she believed that if the house stayed the same, maybe, just maybe, her daughter would remember how to come home. It's an act of profound faith and constancy.
And the silence itself during this period, it kind of evolved, didn't it? It wasn't just an absence of noise anymore. It became heavy, asking its own questions. What happened to us? Did I say too much? Did I not say enough? So she's endlessly replaying their last conversation, her daughter's bright voice saying, "Of course, Mama, you worry too much."
That transformation of silence into an interrogator. It really speaks to the mind's desperate need for answers when faced with ambiguity. It highlights how, in these relational breakdowns, our internal dialogue often just spirals into self-recrimination. We try to pinpoint a single cause, even when the truth is probably far more complex.
Okay, so then the narrative shifts dramatically. It's a rainy Thursday, and there are two soft, hesitant taps on the door. And the mother's reaction, she freezes, stares at the door, her heart pounding with this mixture of fear, longing, a cautious ache. It feels so incredibly real, so relatable. That moment of suspended disbelief, you can almost feel it.
Absolutely. It captures that paralyzing anticipation of a long-awaited moment perfectly.
Yeah.
But what's truly impactful here, I think, is how understated the arrival itself is. When she opens the door, it's just her daughter. Older, thinner, soaked from the rain, with eyes full of something she couldn't quite name. There's no grand entrance, just this quiet presence that speaks volumes.
And that initial silence between them, it's described as louder than the rain. And then just two words, "Hi, Mama." Those words, the source says, they split the silence wide open.
And that's the core insight of this moment, I feel. There's no dramatic hug, no tears yet, just the mother stepping aside, a simple invitation to step inside the house that had waited just as long as she had. This really emphasizes that true connection often begins not with grand gestures or a flurry of words, but with a simple, accepting presence, creating that safe space for return.
The daughter enters, and the description is like someone entering a museum of her own life, noticing all those untouched details. And her confession is just heartbreaking. "I didn't know how to come back. I waited too long. I thought maybe you wouldn't want me anymore."
This reveals such a critical insight into the silent burden often carried by the one who leaves. It's frequently not a lack of desire to return, is it? It's that paralyzing fear of rejection, compounded by this deep sense of shame over the prolonged absence, that internal pressure to have all the answers, to be somehow fixed before reconnecting. It becomes this huge barrier to reconciliation.
Yeah.
And the mother's simple, powerful response just, "You're here now." It's this profound affirmation of unconditional acceptance. It just cuts right through that fear and shame. The source encapsulates it beautifully, saying, sometimes the heart doesn't need explanations, just presence, just a hand in the dark, just a knock at the door.
So they sat at the kitchen table like two travelers who had taken different roads. The air is described as thick not with anger, but with history.
Mm-hmm.
And this remarkable detail. The mother doesn't ask where she'd been or why she hadn't called. She just makes tea in their mismatched cups.
That intentional withholding of questions.
Hmm.
It's just a masterclass in empathy, isn't it? And a powerful act of trust building. It signals to the daughter that the immediate priority is presence and acceptance, not interrogation. It creates that psychological space for the daughter to share her story on her own terms when she's ready, which is absolutely foundational for any true healing.
And the daughter eventually does confess. But the more time passed, the harder it got to come back. I'd pick up the phone and then put it down. She thought she had to have everything figured out before returning.
This really illuminates such a common but often unacknowledged barrier to reconciliation. That self-imposed pressure to achieve some state of perfection or have all the answers before reconnecting. It's a trap so many people fall into, ironically prolonging the very separation they wish to end. And the mother's reply is just profoundly insightful. You didn't need to figure it all out. You just needed to come home. Yeah. That simple truth is such a powerful antidote to that pressure.
The daughter also admits, I thought if I stayed away long enough, you'd stop waiting. And the mother's simple yet utterly devastating and powerful response, I never stopped.
This really is the quiet heart of the entire narrative, isn't it? That deep, unwavering love.
It absolutely is. That exchange reveals the nature of, well, true love, perhaps. That it can transcend time, distance, even perceived abandonment. What's truly compelling here is how the narrative emphasizes that healing isn't about dramatic apologies or, rehearsed speeches. It's just tea and honesty and the quiet work of rebuilding trust one word at a time. It's like this slow, deliberate dance of reconnection.
Even the chocolate cake, which was once this symbol of crushing disappointment, finds its quiet moment of redemption. The mother gently says, "There's no cake. I stopped baking it after the second time you didn't come." But then she offers, "But I can make one now." And the daughter's simple reply, "Let me help." That's not just an offer to bake, is it? It feels like a powerful step towards shared responsibility, building new memories.
Exactly, a shared action. The house itself, the narrative says, felt warmer, almost like it was breathing a sigh of relief. The daughter stayed, not with some dramatic declaration, but through small, consistent actions. Helping with dishes, asking for spare blankets. It felt more like a quiet resettling into place.
And her act of slowly opening the door to her old room, seeing the pink sweater still hung on the chair, and those glow-in-the-dark stars clinging stubbornly to the ceiling, that isn't just seeing familiar objects again. It symbolizes this tentative re-engagement with her past and acceptance of her own history within that space. It's a really powerful step in reclaiming a part of herself, I think.
And then that incredibly powerful symbolic act we mentioned earlier, the mother turned off the porch light for the first time in months. This isn't just about saving electricity, is it?
Oh, far from it. That moment signifies such a profound shift. It's moving from that desperate, uncertain waiting to a grounded, present hope. The light was on as this beacon of longing for a return that might never, ever come. Turning it off means the waiting is over, the person is home. It's a powerful, non-verbal declaration that the uncertainty has given way to certainty, and that the future looks different now that it's shared.
The next morning brings shared coffee, this gentle silence, the clink of a spoon, and the daughter's simple desire to walk to the old bookstore as if she had never left. These are the new sounds of healing, aren't they? Not grand pronouncements, but just quiet, everyday life resuming.
Precisely. It's a subtle but deeply profound transition. weaving from the heavy silence of absence to the comfortable quiet of shared presence. These small, ordinary moments, they're the true markers of reconciliation and rebuilding. They demonstrate that healing happens in the quiet, consistent acts of just living life together again, rather than in some single dramatic resolution.
And the story circles back so beautifully at the end. The daughter says, "I forgot how much this house remembers." And the mother, echoing her earlier profound line about waiting, replies, "It never stopped."
Mm. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that final act, uncircling the red mark on the calendar and drawing a new small circle for tomorrow, that signifies such a powerful move from past hurt to future possibility.
Yeah.
The quiet, understated promise that tomorrow was something to look forward to, not just another day of painful waiting. It's a new beginning, marked by these simple acts of hope.
This deep dive into the daughter who left really does illustrate the immense power of quiet presence, doesn't it? And the profound bravery required not only to return, but also just to wait, to trust that love endures somehow.
Indeed. It reminds us that the door, like the heart, was still open, as the story puts it, and that sometimes the most crucial first step in mending a relationship, or maybe even mending a part of ourselves, is simply signaling that the space, both physical and emotional, is still there, still ready to welcome.
So, thinking about this, what does it all mean for you listening? Consider this. In your own life, what does it truly mean to leave the light on? Is it for a relationship that feels distant? For a goal maybe you've put on hold? Or even for a part of yourself that feels a bit lost? And maybe how can we find the courage to knock, even when we feel we've waited too long or we don't quite have it all figured out?
Or, looking at it from the other side, how do we cultivate that kind of accepting space? Much like the mother did in the story, the kind of space where someone feels they can just come home without needing to present grand explanations or put on a facade of perfection. It's a nuanced thought, certainly worth exploring, as these stories often hold up a mirror to our own universal human experiences.